Good morning, everyone. Many years ago, when I was at Bible college, Liverpool got to the League Cup final down at Wembley, and they drew 1 each with West Ham on the Saturday, and that meant they had a replay at Villa Park in Birmingham on the Wednesday. And being in Scotland, they weren't televising the game in Scotland, they were only televising it in England. So, being off college, it was our college break, I decided it would be a good opportunity to go to Liverpool, and I could go and see my aunt and uncle, or at least my mum's aunt and uncle, an elderly couple, and I could go and stay with them, and that Wednesday evening I would be able to watch the replay of the cup final. And so my strategy was to put on my best blazer and my collar and tie, and that's what I did. And I went to the beginning of the motorway and started hitchhiking, and soon an articulated lorry picked me up, and the guy said where was I going, etc. And he said he could drop me off at Penrith, so I got in this articulated lorry and we set off. And one of the things I used to love about hitchhiking was that it was a great opportunity to witness. It was a great opportunity to talk about God. You know, the people would ask me what I was doing, and I would say I was at Bible college, and they would ask me about how that came about, and it was a great opportunity to talk about Christ and the way that Christ had changed my life. And so I got to Penrith, and then someone picked me up in a really, really nice car at Penrith and dropped me off at the East Lancs Road. Well, cut a long story short, I was at my aunt and uncle's by midday. I'd got there really, really quickly. And I phoned up Anfield, and as it happened, they still had some tickets left for the final. So I got to Anfield, got myself a ticket, got changed, put my red and white scarf on, and got onto the East Lancs Road again and started hitchhiking. I got a lift down to the M6, and then from the M6 I got a lift to the turn off at Wolverhampton. And then when I was at Wolverhampton, a guy stopped and picked me up who came from Shrewsbury, and he was actually going to the game. And it turned out that he was meeting some executives from Corals, the bookmakers, and they were going to have a drink together before the game, and he asked me if I wanted to join them. So I kind of tagged along, and again it was another great opportunity to sit and have a drink with these guys, and they were dead interested in how I'd gone to Bible college and the things that God had done in my life. And this man asked me what I was doing about getting back to Liverpool, and I said I really didn't know. I hadn't thought or planned anything. And he said, well, if you don't get a lift, come back here and I'll take you back to my house. So I thought that was great, and went off to the game, thanking God that he provided for me for a way to maybe get home. Well, we had the game, Liverpool won. When Liverpool scored their second goal, this guy grabbed me and absolutely hugged me to death. We were both jumping up and down, hugging one another. And when things had settled down, I asked him if he was going back to Liverpool that night. And he turned his collar, and on his collar he had a busman's badge. And he was actually the driver of one of the supporters' buses. And he said, do you want a lift home? So it was great. I sat in a supporters' bus after the game, everybody very happy, and home we went. They dropped me off at Queen's Road, many of you will know that. And I walked from Queen's Road to Norris Green, where my aunt and uncle lived. When I got home, at 1:45 in the morning, my aunt was up waiting on me. She had a brew on. When I got in, she made me a nice cup of tea. She made me toast, and the pair of us sat there as I reflected and talked about the amazing day that I had, and she was really interested, and we laughed together about the things that had happened. I often think we can be a bit like that with God, and that's a good thing. We were reflecting on our devotionals the other day that David constantly talks about wanting to go into the tent of God, into the tabernacle, and as Mark reflected the other week, what we were thinking about was whenever you went into someone's tent in those days, it meant that you were now their responsibility. It was their responsibility to look after you. It was their responsibility to take care of you and to protect you. And so many of the Psalms have the concept of God being a fortress, of God being a refuge. And Psalm 59 at the end, there's a verse that says, I will sing of your strength in the morning, I will sing of your love, for you are my fortress, you are my refuge in times of trouble. And it's good to know that whenever we face those challenges of life. And it's also good to spend some time at the end of the day reflecting on it, a bit like I did with my aunt. Jesus wants to hear us share our day with him. Jesus wants to hear our encouragements. Jesus wants to hear our disappointments. And so maybe at the end of today, whatever you have faced, whether it's been a good day or a bad day, it's a good thing to sit down for 5 minutes, have a cup of tea, a bit of toast, and actually share with Christ what your day's been like. He knows, but it's good to be able to share and reflect and to give thanks. That day is absolutely etched on my memory because of the way that it happened and the things that happened. And so let's be a people that reflect on things that happen and the way that they happen and bring them to God and give thanks. I hope you have a really, really good week. Find those moments this week to have a cup of tea, a bit of toast, and involve Jesus in your day. God bless.